Hello and welcome back to Shulchan HaRav. We continue in Hilchos Brochos HaShachar, Siman and Gimel, and we pick it up with Sif Chof Gimel. Afilu Yachid Yachal La'akev V'Loymar. Even an individual in the community can step up and say, "Any right to the Shepleni Yeh Shaliach Tzibur. I don't want so and so to be the Chazan." Now, again, this is in a situation where someone's being hired to be the Shaliach Tzibur, not the daily guy leading the davening Shachar Mincha Mariv. A similar situation we can compare this to in our day is when people hire a shliach tzibur for Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, which is a common thing in the world that people, they don't use the standard people who daven in their shul. They hire somebody from another city and fly him in, like, many places do that. And so that would be a comparable situation. So if someone doesn't want that person, so he is allowed to refuse unless he agreed earlier. He can't change his mind if he agreed earlier. However, a majority of people that agreed to a certain Rav or a certain Chazan and they changed their mind, they could back out even though they agreed earlier. Even on any appointed position in the community, in the shul, an individual can step up and refuse to agree. Even someone who's like the Rav, he teaches, he gives the shir, he gives the drush or whatever. But it's only when this person is willing to accept another shliach tzibur or another Rav, and the cost for the new person is exactly the same as the old person. And most of the people, the majority of the people will agree to this other person. Anyone who was not appointed or removed from his position and then stayed that way for many days, with the agreement of the community, and then they change their mind. They want to appoint that person that they originally declined. It's like the very beginning of this relationship. The same thing, that an individual again could stand up and refuse. The same thing would be if he was appointed for a set period of time, and then that time period ended. So again, it starts up anew, and the negotiations begin from the beginning. It's not that an individual can just refuse on any grounds. He's got to have a valid reason. And he presents his reasonings to the Tuvei Ha'ir, which was it's like the board like the shul board, I suppose, or if there's a community board. And if they agree that his reasoning seems sound, that it is the right thing to not let this guy get the job for the reasons being presented, they'll be concerned for his opinion, and they want to appoint that guy. If this person happens to be the enemy, someone's an enemy of the shliach tzibur, he can also refuse to allow them to appoint him for the shliach tzibur. If he already agreed to that guy, and then he became his enemy, he's not allowed to refuse. However, that chazan is obligated to say bepiv out loud, he is not jealous of this person. There's nothing between them. There's no enmity. And he will also be yotzi him with his davening, because you're dependent on him for certain things that he's saying. So he can't hate you. You can't have any problems between you. But all this applies in earlier days. When these situations arose, it was because they had l'shem shemaim, they had kavod hatzibur in mind, they had kvod Hashem in mind. It's not today. If we would be concerned with the people who stand up and make these complaints, there would never be anyone appointed job. Everybody wants to say there's a problem with this person. This guy will find a problem with him, and this guy will find a problem with the person that he says he wants. No one's going to ever agree. Therefore, we normally, the minig is to go after the majority opinion, the people who are paying the wage for this appointed person, whoever that happens to be. If the shul board, whoever it is that hired this shliach tzibur to come in for Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, the majority rules in that situation. Even if there's a relative amongst those people who generally you can't have relatives testifying on your behalf, here it's a different story. Some people have 11 or 13 people, like a almost like a jury kind of thing, lahavdil, so that they'll be able to have come to a majority. All this is done in order to avoid arguments. We don't have to worry about the objections of the minority people in these situations. Have a great day.